Hello and welcome. I'm Serenity Ravenwolf and the lead love officer of the Lead with Love movement.
And I am Kaelen, the Chief Celebration Officer of Celebrate You. And together we are Lead Love Celebrate TV. What is trust and surrender? This is a path to courage. And we're going to ask Serenity because she's had a lot of experience with this. And for me, this is her strength. And this is where I've discovered that this is my theme for this year. But we're going to have Serenity tell us just a little bit about it. Then I'm going to share something with you too. Are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I refreshed the page and suddenly we started playing in my ear and I'm going, oh no, I'm hearing it in stereo. That said, I do trust and surrender so well that it's like breathing. And every time I was hit to explain this, I just would go totally blank. And then I thought it came to me like how do you explain how you breathe? I can't. So I felt divinely inspired a few days ago and I sat down and started to write something, and what flowed through me, I couldn't verbally sit here and try and describe with you because consciously I'm struggling with how to explain it. So if everyone doesn't mind, it's about 800 words. I'd love to read what came through and what I wrote. And if you don't mind, sorry if you get shine. I look sexy with my glasses on, right?
There you go.
So the description for me of trust and surrender and why it's the path of courage is most spiritual teachers tell you to just let go. What does that mean anyway? How do you just let go? I'd love to share with you what letting go means to me. In the beginning, there are things that are easy to let go of, and that works for a while. You can let go of something and it feels pretty amazing. This is easy to do with a simple shift of perception and the desire to release your attachment to it. Though in the end, if we get down to the nuts and bolts of it, letting go has nothing to do with being in charge of letting go of something. You never let go of things. Things let go of you. You're more the hostage instead of the hijacker. You're the one who's let go of. Why does that person or thing let go of you? The cultivation of your courage and surrender. What does it mean to surrender? Simple explanation. Surrendering to the fact that every single thing in your life is here to help you expand and evolve. Become the next grandest vision of the greatest version of you. Whether you like what's happening or not, that's what surrender is. When we surrender, there's nothing and no one to blame. It's very noble and graceful to be able to say, I don't like what's happening. I don't like the characters that are playing their perfect roles. I don't like the script they're reading from. I don't like the character I get to be. I don't like this one bit. Though there's no one to blame because everything that shows up is here to help me. I'm going to take the noblest and graceful step into surrender by just focusing on how everything that shows up is helping me, even if I'm unaware how it's helping me in this 10 seconds. The fact that I can accept it's beneficial to me, even if I don't have a clue how, with the absence of blame, allows everything to be for my greatest evolutionary benefit. This is the simplicity of surrender. Everything that shows up in your life is here to help you, and you don't have to like it. I've had the pleasure of working with so many of you beautiful souls with relationships that are easily and really past their use by date. And you're really waiting for the other person to see the light before you think you can end things consciously. Ending things consciously means you tune into what you desire. If it seems different from what you have right now, you make the decision to move on. If the other person doesn't agree with that, you have to be willing to take the journey that best supports you. You know what your heart is calling you to do. You know in your heart, if it's best for you, it's best for everyone. Even if that's far from what's true for them in this 10 seconds, that's courage. No one needs to see it's the best for all, only you do. This is the moment you start to trust yourself. You never heal worthiness through inner spiritual work. You heal worthiness by being courageous and trusting yourself. There is a gift in everything that shows up in our lives. We may just be unable to see it in that 10 seconds. It's there though. When you live your life as if everything that shows up is here to help you, life is faced openly. You stop negotiating with life. Let's face it, life knows what you desire. All life requires to give you everything you desire is for you to become your boldest self. To sum up what surrender is, regardless of what happens, there's no one and no thing to blame. This is zero excuse to stay in bad relationships or allow yourself to be taken advantage of or allow yourself to be walked all over. No blame doesn't mean zero forward movement. You can move on from something without the need to blame anything. You can just say, oh, okay, thank you very much. Moving on. When embodying that everything which shows up is here to help you, you step into courage. By surrendering blame and embracing the decisions of your boldest truth, you know what is needed in your life. Needing other people to be on the same page before you can step forward is a thing of the past, as is needing other people's permission to act out our deepest truths. That's the end of the post. I'd love it if everybody felt some ahas or had some insights during that to write some comments below. And I couldn't have said that any better than I wrote it.
You know what? As you were, and I had the opportunity of previewing it earlier before the show, and to hear you read it again, just solidified in me the power that trust and surrender is. And when I really look at, last week we had our show about inspired dynamic action, and that's my wheelhouse, and this is your wheelhouse. And for me, your strength is helping me, because as we've talked about, I was having a hard time figuring out how to surrender and what that looked like, and to trust the universe that it's got my back always and in always, as you say. And as you read this, I was just like, yes, this is exactly how it's supposed to be. And I think back when you were like, there was just stickiness that was happening around a situation. You're like, Kaelen, this is what I do. I just give. I just give from my heart and let everything fall to where it's supposed to be. And when that hit me and I made that conscious choice to say, I'm going to do that. And I wasn't worried then about, I just had to let go of like the finances, the money, the growing my business, all of these different things. And when I chose that and I just said, I'm just giving from my heart and we'll just see what happens. Wow. Like my business just started skyrocketing. I've got speaking engagements. I have clients that are coming in. I've got so many more opportunities, and it's because of that surrender and serenity. Thank you for this beautiful way that you described it, because for you it is like breathing, and for those of us learning, we're taking our baby steps. So,
honey, I'm still taking my baby steps, okay? just so you're aware, I don't think even Jesus took less than baby steps. And the experience in the human suit, just because you're, I don't know, more expansive, you're awake from the 3D matrix a little bit more than others, doesn't mean that we experience less human suit experiences.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And even I, now and again, require reminding of the very, very basics, and now and again, I swing myself back to basics. Hands on my heart. I love you, Serenity, and stop beating myself up. But the good news is for everybody is that those human suits moments become less often.
Yeah.
And less long, as in length of time. Like in the past, I may have beat myself up for weeks, months, years even.
Yeah.
So now it's only minutes. And as I mentioned in a show a week or two ago about the timed pity party, now and again, I even dive into a timed pity party. Feel sorry for myself, beat myself. You're going to beat yourself up. You only have so long to do it. And I'd like
And
to
then we're
share an exact example from my life for this trust and surrender, and when I really, truly embodied it.
Yeah.
And that was back in 2004, the end of 2004. I'd been married for 19 and a half years, same person since I was 18. I was nearly 38, and I have a gift to look into people's eyes and see their soul. And I remembered I hadn't looked in mine for so long, and like everybody else, and being a woman, I divorced, what I call divorced, so much of myself to please others, to not offend others, to give selflessly at the expense of myself. So I call it divorcing parts of myself, to the point where there was, who was left? So I looked in the mirror one day and looked deeply into my eyes and said, who are you? And within a millisecond, I answered the question. I said, don't even answer that. I don't even like you. So in that moment, I knew that I had choices and decisions to make. Difficult ones. And I knew that in that moment, being with the person that I was with, where he was at vibrationally and where I was moving to, I could never, ever, ever be and have all of me with that person.
Yeah.
Just me showing up as a little more of me totally offended this person.
Wow. Okay, now hold on to that part for just a moment. That's a really powerful thing. When we think that we're showing up in such a way that is for the betterment of us, but yet our partner, our spouse, our significant other is offended.
Even business partner.
Business partner, exactly. Oh, golly, yes. Right? Oh, my goodness gracious.
So this is where...
And they're offended by that.
Yeah, and in that moment...
Yeah.
I had to...
Something has to change.
I made the decision that I promised myself never, ever again would I ever divorce any part of myself to please another. Never again would I ever turn my bright light down for fear of offending another or to make you feel good about yourself.
Yes.
It's all about, everything is about alignment. And if it feels off, it's just off. It just means it's out of alignment. Move on to other people and groups and tribes and whatever. If I'm offending anybody, it just means there's an out of alignment there.
That is
and
truth.
It just means I need to find what is in alignment. So everything, the base core of everything is about alignment. I would be true to myself first and foremost. I would stop searching and looking for teachers and gurus.
Yeah.
That it was me and God, great overall designer.
Yep.
That's it. And if I can't listen, we're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And I know, and I totally embodied that statement of, if it's good for me, if it's best for me, it's best for everyone. You know, and I knew my kids would struggle. And so I just said to, and in that moment too, I said, so show me my life in this 10 seconds on the exact path that I'm on, moving forward. Show me my life in 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years time. And I literally broke down and cried. In my mind's eye, who I saw following that exact path, staying with this person, living the life that I would have had. I was like a walking shell zombie of myself. So from that moment on, I knew that this was the path of death for me.
There's no light.
No light, just death.
Right.
So therefore, I chose to live. And from the choice of living, the only choice I had in that 10 seconds was to know that I needed to separate from this person, divorce, and be the greatest example, not only for myself, not only for the world, but more importantly for my daughters, because I had have 3 girls, to show them how to go and live their dream life. Do you know what I mean? And it was looking into it was a deep defining moment of looking into my soul. And for me, what I was looking for was a brand new beginning. And in my heart of hearts, the calling was for a brand new beginning, and it required courage to notice that desire, courage to see what it was coming, that it was coming from my soul's deepest knowing. And the courage to act upon it. That's really important. And in the most conscious and skillful way, with respect for all people involved. Now, while I had that, I had to do what was true for me. And I'm telling you, like 11 or 12 years later, it was the best decision I ever made. My girls are happy. They've turned out way different than they would have had I stayed. And in many ways, I hear people say, and I hear them moan for an hour and a half about how bad their relationship is. And I say, well, why do you stay?
Yeah.
And they say, oh, for the children, of course. Seriously, I nearly choke on how hard I laugh.
Oh, that's one of the most aggravating things that I hear, right?
What you're teaching your children?
Yeah, you're teaching it's suffering and pain. Yeah, and by golly, if this is good enough for me, that's what you're going to have too. And
now I know
we
I've
need
taught my
to
girls to
stand
go
up.
have that. Yeah, absolutely. You know, and there's a clarity and freedom that comes from trusting and surrendering to the process.
Yeah.
Or in Aussie terms, process. And I'd like to give you permission to courageously act upon your deepest truths, your deepest clarity.
Right. So this is such a pivotal topic. And I firmly believe that every one of us have to go through these experiences. And I'm literally thinking just under a year ago, I had this exact same feeling. I was in a business relationship and things got really weird and sticky. And when I wasn't standing up and showing my love light, I was hiding it. And when I had to face the truth that it was time to part, I definitely grieved. But when I did, all of a sudden there was this huge lift off my shoulders. And I was like, and I felt like literally surrendering, my lungs expand. And I was like, oh, I can breathe. I don't feel suffocated. And in that moment, I literally wrote, I will never dim my light for anyone ever again. And if you ask me to, I'm sorry, I will not ever be that, but I totally invite you to go be with someone else whose light is shining as dim as yours, because I have to be always my full self. There is this wonderful woman that I know, and she's got this adorable, very active 15-year-old girl, and her mom's like, oh, she's just way too bouncy and shining so bright. And I'm like, because I need to have her tone it down. I'm like, oh no, this was at a dance. I said, oh no. He needs to shine that light so bright because people are drawn to her and she has a message for them. That's why she is shining so bright. And to be in that place and space of allowing and trusting and being our authentic self, it's a powerful thing. My goodness, we had just had so much fun. We only have a couple of minutes left here.
Oh, dear.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you, Nancy, and thank you, Sharon, for showing up on today and for just enjoying this topic with us. I have one thing I want to leave with us, but I want to make sure that we've got time. Serenity, is there anything else that you want to share with us in these last few moments?
No,
so
other than
what I'm going to
I just want one thing. When you go down the rabbit hole of trust and surrender, you wake up to the fact that you are the vastness and majestic perfection, what I call heart-centered consciousness. And I dearly love you for just showing up exactly the most imperfectly perfect way that you are.
Yes, it's so yummy. It is so yummy. So really quick, there was this example that I heard a friend share the other day, and it was, there was a guy and he was on this cliff and there was this massive gust of wind that came through and it blew him off the cliff, and he's falling down and he grabs a hold to the only limb of a branch that's sticking out of the side of this mountain, and he holds on to it and he's like, God, you got to save me, and then he hears this voice, and the voice says, do you believe that I created that big gust of wind that blew you off? And he says, yes, God, I do. And he said, do you believe that I created that branch that's now sticking out that you're now holding on to for dear life? And he says, yes, God, I do. And he says, do you believe that I can create such a gust of wind that's going to come up from this ravine and completely push you up to the top and save you? And he says, yes, I do. And he says, then God says, let go. That is surrender. So in this moment, may you rejoice in the unique magnificence of your being, that in the here of this now, has the power to transform all who enter the light of your eternal presence as you lead, love, celebrate. Thank you for joining us today. Goodbye.